You know that one friend that's always like, dude, I just met this girl and she looks just like insert any number of female actresses, and he raves about how much she looks just like her and how hot she is, but when you finally get to meet this amazing mystery woman, she looks nothing like the celebrity, and more often than not, a little bit less Cameron Diaz and a little bit more Fiona, the Shrek version, you know what I'm talking about? Which is fine, I mean, who cares what she looks like, but why did you do that, bro? That was completely unnecessary. And that's kind of what gaming journalists keep doing to us, where the games they are comparing are nothing alike, and what could have been a simple introduction to a new experience turns into a drawn-out cope fest that no one is buying. I mean, Fem Shrek is great with a lot of good qualities, but you told us to expect Cameron Diaz, so we're just a little bit confused right now. And ultimately, the journalists end up hurting the game rather than helping it by setting unrealistic or different expectations that don't align with the actual gaming experience, all the while running their own already broken credibility so far through the mud with incoherent, crappy logic that not even the Predator could see what the hell they were talking about. I mean, who actually looked at Avowed and was like, yup, we're gonna compare this to Bethesda, and thought that was a good idea?
Hello, is this Game Rat?
This is Game Rat, what can I do you for?
Yeah, we got a new game calling out. It's called Avowed. We want you to play it. I just sent over the file.
Okay, yeah. So, tell me what the game's about.
It's kind of like an old school RPG without any of the good part.
Oh yeah, I know that one. It's kind of like that Oblivion Squalls game.
No, it's nothing like that.
Except for the fact that both of these games are RPGs in a bloated, failing genre that is way past its prime. They are literally nothing alike.
A different kind of open world. It's just,
well, I gotta be honest with you, man. I think it sounds like Skyrim.
Skyrim. Do you play video games?
Video games? Like I'm some kind of sissy? Dude, get out of here.
I'm not sure what to say. Maybe I'll call GameSpot.
Oh, baby girl, you don't need to worry about a thing. I gotta take real good care of you. I got the only spot you need. I'll catch you later now.
Did he just call me baby girl?
From movement and combat mechanics to story and narrative structure, there are no meaningful comparisons to be made here. The only comparison I actually give credence to is the quality comparison, where we ask ourselves, when we got this 20 years ago, why are we getting this crap now? Not even the director of the game wanted to make these comparisons, but these brown envelope game journalists couldn't be stopped. And even if he had made a higher quality game, the comparison still would have hurt. Just tell us about the game we are about to play without trying to make some groundbreaking clickbait title that no one cares about with bad comparisons, but you already know all of this because you watch YouTube, which collectively already beat this topic into the ground like the Office Space printer. If I had to make any kind of comparison with this game, I would compare it to Fable with maybe a little pinch of KOTOR in there. You know, it's got some of those attribute abilities. It's got a little bit of that good stuff in it. But like when it comes to Fable, it's not the new Fables, it's the old Fable, the 2004 Fable, because Avowed would have crushed it in 2004, but unfortunately for Obsidian, it's 2025 and gamers are expecting a little bit more these days. We all know the gaming industry is a powder keg completely ready to explode with zero trust or room for grace from the majority of its playing demographic, and anything even remotely similar to bait and switch marketing, controversial themes, or fan blaming is going to ignite a shitestorm of unreasonable proportions the studio will always lose.
So you get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
Regardless if the games warrant the hate or not. And this is why the journalist's inability to just play a game and critique it for what it is, rather than making all these grandstanding statements, bad comparisons, and even a couple of bad employees using the game as a platform, really shot Avowed in the foot, because I actually enjoyed playing Avowed. Sure, it wasn't my favorite game. It was very mediocre and average, but it wasn't categorically bad. And that's the question I was trying to figure out when I started playing Avowed. Was it and would it be worth playing if it wasn't so overhyped and underdelivered? If journalists hadn't told us we were going to get something as good as Oblivion or Skyrim or Fallout, would we have just enjoyed the game for what it was without being like, nah fam, this ain't anything like that? Or is this just a product of a self-described mediocre studio that makes mediocre games expecting mediocre profit margins, which is probably the most accurate.
Hey, team lead, what are we thinking about late stage content for the game?
Why do we need late stage content?
So people keep playing the game.
Why do we care? They already bought the game.
I don't understand. Don't we want people to tell other people that the game's good?
Intern, does this sweet profit margin look like we need to sell more games?
That's $40.
This isn't just $40. It's 100 million more than Dragon Age made.
As it turns out, during my playthrough, I was both underwhelmed and uninvested for the first several hours of play, but it did get better. I was 7 hours into the game before I felt the tiniest bit of interest in the game, and I was awarded a main storyline achievement, and I was like, okay, cool, let's check this thing out. Now, what is interesting about this is the achievement has only been awarded to 60% of Steam players, so I start scratching my head thinking, what's going on? I mean, I'm kind of late to this game, and I'm only 7 hours in it, so why are players dropping off like that? So I play for another 7 hours, I get into the game, I'm starting to have passable fun, I get another achievement, and I realize only 23.8% of players had been given this next storyline achievement. For an RPG, this is barely past the beginning of the game. I mean, we're 14 hours in. We're still in the opening scenes here. And Avowed has already lost almost 80% of its players. Avowed kind of reminds me of that TV show that you really like and you tell everybody and they're like, nah, I tried the first episode and it wasn't really for me. And you tell them, no, trust me, you need to watch to the 4th episode, dude. If you get to the 4th episode, the show's awesome. But it is kind of suspect on whether the show actually got any better or if you're just too invested with your time at that point to admit the show actually sucks. So you just start grasping at straws and trying to convince everyone else it's a good idea to watch the show just to justify your bad decisions. That's where I'm at with Avowed right now. You know, I'm 40 hours into the game. I played all the way through to completion. I kind of had a little bit of fun, and it would make me feel better if you played it and liked it too, because I'm really questioning whether that was a good decision or not.
Okay, so we're gonna make the mages a little bit more like Librarian meets Harry Potter, a real Hermione Granger kind of feel. Intern, do the thing again. Spin it. Spin it harder. Oh yeah, just like that.
Parkour.
Don't make me ask you again. The differentiator.
Drunk.
Okay, drunk parkour. I mean, yes, but only sometimes.
There are some good things to be said about this game. I mean, I really enjoyed waving my wand around and parkouring like a drunk person with kind of game mechanics that didn't make sense on what I could jump on, where I couldn't jump, what I can't jump on, but it was fun. I mean, I had an okay time, and although the writing isn't great, it's actually extremely boring and exposition-laden heavy, it's better than a lot of what is being shoved down our throats right now. What I think Avowed really needs was a strong hook to keep the players engaged. Instead, it gave us a triple serving of meh that didn't quite capture our imagination or curiosity, although it tried. It did try. In my opinion, the best way to capture a gamer's curiosity and attention with the game is some good, solid game mechanics. And if it's too much to come up with a new game mechanic, give us a good spin on an old game mechanic that makes things fresh and a little bit more fun. However, this is Obsidian, so we don't really expect groundbreaking game mechanics with these games. We expect passable fun game mechanics, but certain elements seem tacked on while others didn't really feel like they had any weight outside of dialogue options and completely ignored balance. I Jake Thaned all my points into intellect and completely ignored all other attributes as a wizard and felt like my character was completely overpowered by the end of my playthrough. There was nothing truly new about the game mechanics mechanics, and these slapped on elements like drunk parkour and yanking out your wands with your buds, even though passively fun, didn't do enough to hook you into playing the game in the first place. But we knew the game mechanics were gonna be a little bit sus, right? So what about the story? What went wrong with the story?
Babe, I don't know what sus means.
The beginning of the game came with the typical budget-friendly narration over watercolor before fading into a cutscene of a ship in a storm. The graphics looked passable. I thought it was about to get good. Some cannons started shooting at us. It was about to get real. And right when I think it's about to really kick off, the screen fades to black, and all I really saw was a pirate ship floating around in the water. Next thing I know, I'm in an exposition storm on the beach with a blue Furby, and I could not care less. I have no clue what's going on. I slogged through my 30-minute tutorial level, having only conquered one puzzle, a handful of enemies, and dealt with a Karen calling me fugly, and was seriously questioning my choice in game reviews.
Intern, have you ever seen the movie Inception?
Of course, I love that movie.
Great, because I want to do our story a little bit like that.
You mean how the story has multiple layers, ambiguous ending, the storyline inside of a storyline? What are we going for here?
No. Not that stuff. What I really like about the movie is that it tells me everything I need to know before I watch what's about to happen. And I think we should do that.
So exposition. You just exposition.
Look, intern, we're trying to make margins, not movies here.
Interesting side note here, only 91% of people got the achievement for actually getting off the tutorial island, which means 9% of the people got to the blue Furby exposition scene and were like, nah, I'm not really into this. That's not my thing, and gave up the game. Any game needs to accomplish a lot of things quickly at the beginning of the game, and this can be difficult. Things like, who are we playing? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? What am I now? What could I be by the end of the game? It's a lot of stuff they've got to cover. Before too much time has passed, the player should be crossing the threshold and be full force into their journey with a sense of urgency. Sense of urgency. Something seriously lacking in this game. Most importantly to me, this game didn't have a save the cat moment until that 7-hour mark. And yeah, sure, that's a film thing, but I need something that introduces me to who the hero, the player in this context, is, and make me like them. Make me want to spend hours as them. This isn't a Bethesda game. You can't just open up the world to the player and expect them to sandbox it for the next 1,000 hours. Not when you are pursuing mediocre games and expecting mediocre profits, because you didn't provide them something to spend 1,000 hours in. You have to provide a reason for your players to invest into the character, allow them to make a tough decision early in the game that sets the tone, or provide a cutscene that drops you into a race against time. Not a cutscene that drops to black and a blue Furby. To Avowed's credit, they did try this. They did kill you, like, really early in the game, and then you raised back from the dead like some kind of mushroom Jesus, and now your adventure is really beginning, but they kill all momentum by making you go talk to a bunch of people, and then you gotta investigate your murder, and by the time you actually find your murderer, there's, it's just not a big deal anymore. John Wick doesn't work if the dog is killed and then he goes and talks to a therapist for the next 45 minutes. It only works because he grabs a sledgehammer and rips up his floor to reveal his past. Guns come out of everywhere. There's gold coins. Testosterone is flowing.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
What if the game allowed you to see your assassin right before you were shot, creating a personal connection with your killer, and as you're waking up in the hospital, you see that little bastard over in the corner marking to finish the job? A chase could begin to capture your killer and get answers. You catch up with him in a public square, but at the same time as Ludwig comes in? Now you're faced with the moral dilemma while a public scene is ensuing inside of everybody, setting the tone of being for the people or for the empire, reputation that will follow you the rest of the game. And instead of the assassin working independently because he had some kind of weird dream, which ends the arc and any urgency generated, what if he had a boss in the next area and there were some menacing threats thrown around? That would provide some effing urgency, but no. Let's stop and talk about this. Let's report to the ambassador. Let's go climb some buildings with that drunk parkour stuff we talked about. And possibly, maybe, let's forgive the guy for killing us. Oh, and we can't forget about the cordyceps. Dream Scourge. We gotta throw the Dream Scourge in there somewhere, but the writers get paid to figure that out. I mean, Avowed really, really loves exposition. Someone on the writing staff over there just woke up one day and was like, I want to tell you everything and show you nothing. I mean, Avowed loves exposition so much, they don't even let you sleep without it. Every time you go to sleep, you're forced to talk to some belligerent toddler god for like 50 minutes. And don't worry, I know what you're thinking. Luke, I thought you said you kind of liked the game. I did kind of like the game. And like I said, I'm not sure if I actually liked it or if I've just spent so much time in it, I need to like it for my own soul right now. In the end, Avowed just didn't hook me in any way. If I was not making this YouTube review, I would have stopped the game. I would have been a part of that 40% or 60% or 80% that bailed at the key critical quest lines. I didn't really feel like the decisions had enough weight to them. I didn't really feel like the logic of the story writing was good. There were some areas of the game that I kind of liked, but in the end, it's just a mediocre game. And if this game hadn't been hyped up to the point that it was, I think more people would have enjoyed it for what it was. Now, a completely different video is why in the world did this game cost me $70? I feel like this was a $40 game tops. If I was to buy this game to play for enjoyment outside of the confines of a YouTube review, I would have waited till it was on sale. And that's what Avowed is to me. It's a sale game. When you're waiting for your next RPG and you see Avowed go on sale, buy it, play it, have some passable fun, make sure that you bring beer.